Hi guys, what is going on, and welcome back to another video on Conqueror's Blade. So today we are Prefecture Guarding. So I've covered these guys previously in a separate video, I think twice now. Once at the beginning, I didn't really know a great deal about them, sort of vaguely touched on them, but didn't really say a lot more than that. Then I sort of revisited them a second time after I'd heard good things about them, and I really kind of enjoyed them. But then I feel with the matchmaking changes we've had now, meaning particularly at my level, I'm 300 and something. I'm always against 300, 400 level players. Kind of means you're encountering much more in the way of high tier units. Almost always going up against at least heroic units, spear sergeants, imperial spear guard, etc. And I kind of wanted to touch again of how do they compare now? Now they're getting thrown into that much higher tier of matchmaking. Are they still a worthwhile unit taking? Or kind of have they fallen a little bit behind? Because I'm finding that's something that's changed quite a few units now with the way the matchmaking has adjusted. So I've got mine 9 and level 13, I want to say, if I can find them. I have far too many units. Yeah, I'm running them with a few doctrines. They're all about slashing damage. I gave them because I happened to have one. I actually had two of the reduced range damage by 10%. And then, yeah, I've been giving them a slashing armor penetration buff and a slashing damage buff. So it puts their slashing offensive abilities actually really rather high. 13, 15 for slashing AP. Pretty decent. That will penetrate most armor. Maybe not Reapers and stuff like that, but it will penetrate most. And then with that 1500 actual slashing damage, it's actually pretty decent. It's a very nice base attack, and that is actually going to continue to get better. The penetration increases as we go down, and then we're getting further buffs to prefecture drill and everything as we carry on. I've gone down the top line, though it's kind of, do you go for the slight extra damage with the top line or the slight extra defense with the bottom line? For me, they're all about the offense. They're an offensive unit. Their armor stats are pretty poor. Bearing in mind, even the slashing damage, I'm running a doctrines that's giving them plus 75 or plus 60 or something. So the reality is that their defensive attributes are pretty low. Health-wise, 7,600. At level 13, that's not really that great. They don't have good defense and they don't have a large hit point pool. They will die fast if, you get them out of position. They get shot to death by muskets, something like that. They're not an Imperial Spear Guard. They're not a shield wall. They will not hold. They will die. But it's all about the damage. Now, the unique thing about Prefecture Guards, which no other unit has, is its Prefecture Drill ability. So this is basically a short-term, high mobility, high damage ability. So when you activate this, they basically just go into almost like a frenzy or a berserker mode. They move quicker, and they deal more damage, and they attack more quickly. So it basically just is a big buff. It doesn't last that long. It doesn't actually specify how long it lasts for. I think it's something like 5 to 10 seconds, something like that. But it does make them super effective over that period of time. Now, the combined factor of this is the fact they also have a cover commander. That means they can stack close together when they do this. If you can encircle a unit, and this is where I found them to be most effective at in the higher tier games, is when other units are using cover commander. Because the cover commander on this, guys, as you'll see in the footage, is kind of quite a broad circle, not like an Imperial Spear Guard or a Spear Sergeant type cover commander. So when you see, say, a unit of Spear Sergeants, and it works particularly nicely with my poleaxe, I find, I can go and get the shove in, get the Prefecture Drill on, get the cover commander on, and you almost encircle that unit. And then the rate, when you get them encircled like that, the rate of damage they do, particularly if you as a hero can then cause some stun on that blob, for a second or two, then they just annihilate units like that. So that's when I find they really work quite well. They also get a charge. It's not an amazing charge. It will kill archers. And it gets them to the enemy quicker if you want to. So, yeah, it's a charge. They get a good use, a good amount of tactical mobility through their abilities. So, well, let's actually hop into some footage now, take a look at a bit of gameplay. And you'll kind of see as we get into some of these higher games how some things go well and some things go less so well. But anyway, I shall see you all in the actual battle. So we are into our first battle, and we are on the actually on the new siege map, the 7v8 siege map. And I've been trying to get a little bit better at this one. I mean, as you saw, I did a video on it a week or so ago, where I've kind of been struggling a lot on this map. So I've been trying to be a little bit more switched on about making sure we don't get people up on the walls quite so easily, don't get outflanked, don't lose the points without giving up a decent defense at least. So I'm mostly looking for enemies trying to come over the walls, because these guys are great at sort of swarming the walls, particularly things coming off the ladders, and then using their high damage output to sort of annihilate them. But it seemed most of the enemies were focusing on the gate, and that's kind of where I was looking about maybe assisting. And then I just panned around and saw actually another unit of Prefecture Guards coming up over the walls. Perfect. So I get stuck in. I immediately smack on my Prefecture drill and then sneak back into cover commander mode, so they could have clustered up nicely like this. And then I'm mostly using my hero. I'm mostly focusing on trying to stun and knock over as many enemies as I can to clear out a flank there. And you can see with the combination of that and the fact I think our Prefecture Guards are quite a bit higher level, and we're making use of our Prefecture drill, we slaughter them. We actually really basically lose a man. So that really panned out quite nicely for us, and I was really quite pleased with how that one sort of went. So after that I thought, right, let's pull back to the supply point, get ourselves healed up a bit. I'm kind of used to the Imperial Spear Guards and their nice little circular formation to fit them into the supply point. So you have to change the formations around a little bit sometimes to get every unit in the actual point. So as they're doing that, I'm kind of having a bit of a look what's going on. I noticed A was being capped, so I thought, right, okay, let's go down there. And I called the Prefecture Guards back to me. I'm thinking, wow, there's actually quite a bit of stuff here. I'm going to have a hard time holding this, even with my guardsmen. I'm trying to stay alive, but I'm trying to stay on point as well. You can see, I don't want to just throw the point away, but then I don't want to just die just to stand on a point. So I was kind of skirting a little bit around the edge, and you see now my guard's starting to turn up. And we get that cavalry charge. Really well-timed cav charge. That really helped us out a lot. So, smack on Prefecture drill, back to cover commander, lock the guy down there, and start to go to work with the actual prefectures. Start to power into this unit of enemy spear sergeants, trying to get some decent amount of damage in. And we do. These guys do such immensely high damaging hits. You see, even against the relatively armoured units, we're hitting for 1,000 plus normally per hit, at least. And then we managed to kill an enemy hero as well. And then this guy, completely outnumbered, basically bolts it and runs away. You can see my hesitation here. I didn't want to leave the point, but the unit is... almost everyone is on like a slither of health and going to die super fast. So I thought, well, I just had to kind of hope that at least one of the three other people there would look after it. But they didn't. I should have stayed. It was an error. But anyway, I thought, let's pull back. Let's get the unit healed up. Because then we'll go back to almost a full strength unit, because actual unit losses in terms of men dead are not that high. So I thought, right, let's pull back, get healed up, and then we can press on. But in the meantime, obviously, we lose a point. So that means we're now vying for actually the final base and for B. Although I was quite pleased with how we've done so far. There's still 4 minutes left of this battle, so things can kind of go wrong pretty quickly yet. So while they're healing up, I'm kind of looking around, seeing what I want to do, trying to take advantage of the strategic map to give me a little bit more sort of situational awareness stuff. And yeah, I was mostly thinking about B point. No one seemed to be really pushing hard for the central supply point, so the main base. So I thought, right, let's try and deal with the supply point. With B point. God, I can't even speak today. So as I'm pulling back, I'm pulling my unit back to me. They are quite a fast unit. I've really got used to, as I say, the Imperial Spear Guards, which while they're super tanky, they're so slow. I mean, painfully slow. It's really nice to be back with a unit that when you call it, it actually turns up in a decent amount of time. So, and then I was at this point, and my concerns here were ranged, basically. As I said at the start of this this video, the unit is not very strong, it's not very tanky, and it doesn't have much health. And while it's great, like, that hero there got caught in the thing and just died pretty much instantly, and, while we can cut through this this spear militia really fast, look at all those fire arrows, and look how quickly our unit dies. And it's not the spear militia killing us, it's those fire arrows. Absolutely brutalize us so fast, and the whole unit basically just gets wiped out by those guys. And yeah, that was a shame. That was a real error on my part. It kind of highlights one of the main weaknesses of these Prefecture Guards, is that they don't have much health. They die fast. So anyway, on to the second battle. Let's see if we can do a little bit better. We ended up with about 70 kills on the first one, so not too bad, not too shabby, but that's kind of highlighting some of the weaknesses of these guys. So when I was saying about enveloping spear sergeants, this is kind of what I mean. This was optimal. I really thought this was quite funny. This guy comes down, cover commander, I smack onto charge. It doesn't really do a lot on the charge damage, but it does mean my unit pushes round the back and then comes in. And look, when we get the Prefecture drill on, look how quickly those spear sergeants die. The whole unit, a whole heroic era unit, dead in seconds. It just cuts the unit down so fast, and we took no losses for that. And that's an entire like 30 stack of Spear Sergeant. That was really nice. I was really pleased with that. I think that's where that unit works optimally, when you can sort of envelop like that. And they just attack so fast when they Prefecture Drill and output so much damage that they just sort of slaughter. So I was a little bit hesitant here because I was still on cooldown on my charge and on the Prefecture Drill. But we've got allies pushing in, and we outnumbered these other prefectures pretty heavily. And yeah, you can kind of see in an outnumbered situation like this with arrow support, they die pretty fast. They're not a strong unit. As I say, they kind of need to just have the advantage. When I say just have the advantage that they can apply that immense damage, then that's when I find they work just sort of amazingly well. So anyway, so we cleared out the B point, and basically we're now on and capping. So I was quite pleased with this. Wanted to get this secure B, it gives an extra 3 minutes. And then I was thinking about, after this, I was thinking, well, do I push on straight to C point, or do I pull back to the supply point and go for a bit of a heal? And I was actually thinking, well, I'll probably go back to the supply point. I've got to go down these stairs here anyway, and the supply point's only like another 30-40 meters to the right, so, solid. Well, let's go to the supply point. So as I'm pushing on here, I sort of saw that quite a few enemy units actually have pushed forwards of the C point. I was thinking, okay, maybe a bit of an opportunity here. But I was also pretty nervous because I was thinking there's quite a bit of stuff. I think I saw a few halberds. I don't want to get caught out of position and just get slaughtered. But as we come around this corner, dream of dreams, one domain pikeman, followed by halberdier sergeants who are not in formation. I'll just go for it. In an opportunity like that, you have to go fast. And look how many kills we rack up against these guys. Dunk, dunk, dunk. I mean, a whole unit of halberdier sergeants and domain pikemen. That's the dream. Easy kills. I mean, if they'd been in position, these Prefecture Guards would have just got slaughtered then. But they weren't. And that's optimal. You can see how much damage output these guys do. Against sort of 30 enemy units like that, including a heroic halberdier sergeants. And it just cuts them to pieces. So that was great. I was really pleased with that. We didn't take very many losses. We are all pretty low health though, so I go and throw them back on the supply point, as I had originally intended. And then just push on as myself as my hero for a while. It's kind of onto the C point. I was thinking about how else we can move up to assist. Wanted to make sure I could throw a little bit of support into the C point. So I push on, and at this point I saw they'd fully healed, so I called them back to me, and they're on the way. As I said, pretty fast units, so they come back to you pretty quickly, so it's not a massive problem throwing them on the supply point because they get back fast. So we're getting the cap in. I'm kind of watching the mini-map, which is something I've been trying to focus on a little bit more recently, and I noticed that there's an enemy coming around on this side here. And I'm a bit later on getting the charge off. I go for the charge. I think they got the charge drop on me better, but then I'm just trying to stun, basically. I kind of managed to screw up my roll a little bit there, roll too many, and then I get intercepted by that glaive. And we do take quite a few losses in that fight, but with the Prefecture Drill, with the damage output, we were able to actually get the kills, and we do finish the unit off, despite the fact it cost us sort of 5 or 6 troops there. And then I saw we were actually capping the base point, which was nice, but then it looked like there's also quite a few enemies resisting, so I'm thinking, what am I going to do next? And I wanted to push up to this supply point, partly to heal, but partly because we need to capture this point anyway, because it's a good staging area to get on that the raised area behind the spawn, so I kind of wanted to push around a little bit anyway. So come on, get onto the point, go for a little bit of a self-heal. Just leave the guys in cover commander because they run onto the point anyway, and they start to heal up. And I was kind of looking, I think I went onto the strategic overview mode, which we'll do in a minute. It says, strategic mode. There we go, I knew myself. And I just had a quick look at the situation, and it looked like we were pushing pretty hard on base and actually almost had the point clear. So I thought, well, want to get there fast. If nothing else, I don't want it to cap without me even getting there. I want to throw some assistance if I can. And, I thought I might be able to actually be useful. So, as you come down, I saw this long sword pushing up. So I just went for my long sword, my poleaxe ultimate, easy way of locking him down. But then his Imperial Spear Guard turned up. So I'm thinking, wow, a bit of a fight developing here now. We get the enemy hero, but still quite a bit of stuff here. So I smack into the Prefecture Drill, obviously, put them back on cover commander, trying to keep sort of a clear line around these guys. That cavalry charge hurt. That really basically finished the whole unit off. You can see, there we go, and that spelled the end pretty fast. Those winged hussars, that charge was super effective against the Prefecture Guard. So you've got to watch out for cavalry because they do not resist it very well. As I said, low defense, low health, bit of a glass cannon. But anyway, that's all I've got for you. We ended up getting, again, around 70 kills with these guys. And I find that is pretty not too hard to get. You know, sort of 50 plus kills with these guys because of the amount of damage they do. As long as you don't get caught in the open against a unit of enemy archers or something, they fare pretty nicely. So yeah, Prefecture Guards, do they work at the higher tiers? Yes, in effect they do. I still think they're a pretty decent unit. But anyway, that's all I've got for you. Hopefully it's been useful. If it has, let me know what you think in the comments down below. Of course, subscribe to the channel for a load more Conqueror's Blade content, and I shall see you guys all on the next video.